Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today for the Renodis Reduction, Rebates, and Incentives Chicago presentation. My name is Kathleen Barillaro, and I'll be presenting for Keith and Easy today. We also have Chad Newbury, our Energy Project Manager, presenting today. Next slide, please. An introduction to Renodis. Renodis provides telecom, utility, consulting, sources, and management services. Our corporate office is located in St. Paul, Minnesota, and we have 5 offices throughout the United States with over 220 employees. In 2022, Renodis acquired the Eric Ryan Corporation and 12 Points Consulting. This broadened our client base and also added new services that we provide for our clients. Some of those services are the Renodis Energy and Sustainability Services, which we'll be talking about today. As you see in the blue circles below, we run from water conservation, EV charging stations, energy-related upgrades, energy site services, energy management systems, carbon offsite reporting, greenhouse gas report, hotel brand standard reporting, and rebates and incentives. These are some of our clients that we provide utility and telecom services for. As you can see, we're in different markets, from professional services, manufacturing, health services, food and beverage, retail, and construction. We have large clients and medium clients, all commercial. Next, please. And the Renodis hospitality clientele, we service a very large portion of hotels, from Hilton, Marriott, Hyatt, and we also do large management groups, independents, and all sizes of hotels throughout the United States and Canada. I'd like to introduce the Renodis Energy Sustainability Team. We have Keith and Easy, President of Energy Services Division, Bob Sprecher, a VP of Energy Services Division, and today our speaker will be Chad Newbury. He is our Energy Project Manager. Chad?
All right, thank you, Kathy. Today we're going to be talking about some rebates and incentives in the Illinois area, specifically in the ComEd territory. You can see here ComEd is the largest electric utility in Illinois, serving approximately 10 million people, mainly in the Chicago and surrounding suburbs. And then Ameren is a little bit to the west of that, serving other customers in Illinois and over into Missouri. Next slide. And you can see the ComEd service territory map, and again, that'll be the main focus today, but certainly if you are listening and you have accounts in Ameren, we can help you there as well, and you can see those service territories on the right hand side of that slide too. In the ComEd territory, we're going to focus today specifically on retro commissioning audits, and you may be thinking, what is the difference between a retro commissioning audit and a regular energy audit? And you can see here on the slide, retro commissioning is the process of reviewing a building's operational systems to ensure that they're all working as designed. So it's not so much coming in and look at your building and saying, you know, you can change light bulbs and save energy, or you have an old HVAC unit that you need to upgrade. It's more making sure that the equipment that you have is working properly. And you can save anywhere, and it optimizes energy performance, of course, and then it saves anywhere from 5 to 10, and in some cases, depending on how deep we go in the audit, up to 20% on your annual energy costs, and enhances occupant comfort in your facility as well. Next slide. And the typical cost for a retro commissioning audit is $10,000 to $15,000, but there's some rebates that ComEd is currently offering that can pay for the cost of this audit. And one of the prerequisites for seeing if you qualify for this rebate and this incentive offered by ComEd is that you have to have a building automation system in your building, and fine tuning that is one of the key components of a retro commissioning audit. And there are some other prerequisites as well. Next slide. So yeah, so the audits, again, as mentioned, are 100% paid for by the utility, but it needs to be completed by an approved ComEd vendor. And we work very closely with a company called Verde Energy, and they have checked all the boxes to be an approved vendor from ComEd. They're in with the rebate programs. They know them inside and out. And how the process works is we first of all discuss your building internally. Yourself and me would talk and see if you have the building automation system and some of the other prerequisites. And then we get a bill copy that Verde runs through the program, checks with ComEd just to verify your account number and your address, and see if you and your energy usage, your historical energy usage, to see if you qualify for the retro commissioning audit. Next slide. So you can see your average energy use in buildings. Obviously, in majority of commercial buildings, lighting and HVAC take up over half of your energy uses. So it's important to see, going back to the retro commissioning piece, that those systems are operating as they should, that there's no malfunctions, the temperatures can't be fine-tuned, there's no air leaks, no duct leaks. Those are the kinds of things that we would be looking for in a retro commissioning audit. So if that makes up more than 60, almost 70% of the energy usage in an average commercial building, you can see how important it is to make sure that the systems are running properly, and that you don't have to do much to get to even 5% energy savings. And if the systems are really out of whack, you could see some pretty significant energy savings by fine-tuning and improving performance. Next slide. So we talked about the retro commissioning piece, and the good news is, if for whatever reason you would not qualify for the retro commissioning audit, there are some other programs in the ComEd territory, and Ameren also has similar programs. They don't have the retro commissioning piece, but they offer very similar programs to what you see here. And we can do a standard energy audit as well. If your property, if we run through the process, you don't have a building automation system, or for whatever reason you don't qualify for the retro commissioning piece, we can do an energy audit at your property and look at some of the standard energy items that you can see there: lighting, refrigeration, HVAC, and see if there are we'll call them low-hanging fruit to change out that equipment. That's retrofitting your equipment, and then getting the energy savings by doing that. And there are rebates for those programs. And then the bottom couple don't necessarily have to do with energy or retro commissioning auditing, but EPAC 179D is a commercial tax incentive that incentivizes people to do energy efficiency projects. It comes in 3 buckets: lighting, HVAC, and building envelope. So if you have improvements in those areas, you can file for tax deductions, which it's essentially enhanced depreciation. So you get all the depreciation up front by doing that on your taxes. Demand response can also be a part of your energy efficiency, where you're paid to reduce, specifically over the summer months when there's some strain on the grid due to increased HVAC usage. And so we can assist in that as well. And then totally off on a tangent, People's Gas, which also serves the Chicago area. They have some incentives, and believe it or not, one of them is on water valves. We work with a vendor that this is mainly for hospitality, multifamily, colleges and universities where there's extended guest stays. In sinks and showers, they reduce energy usage, water usage, I should say, and People's Gas actually has an incentive because you're not going to use as much gas on to heat water. And so there are lots of rebate opportunities out there. This is not an exhaustive list by any means, but certainly if there's an area that we can help in. Again, today we kind of focused on the retro commissioning in ComEd, but if you have issues or questions in these other areas, certainly feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy to talk with you and see how we can help. And then the process again is fairly simple. We're sort of a one-stop shop. You contact us, and like I said, I would be glad to take time out of any day to talk to anybody and just see what your project looks like or where your pain point is, and how we can assist. And then typically the next step would be to get an assessment. We have vendors in specific areas for lighting and HVAC and water conservation, or if you just need a general audit, we do have some engineers on staff here who can come out and walk through your property and give you some ideas for energy saving opportunities. And from that point, it's totally up to the customer for what they want to do. If we find a project with a great ROI, or a project, for example, the retro commissioning is 100% covered, you're free to say, hey, that looks great. Let's get the ball rolling on this. And we can get quotes to proceed. And then if everything's good to go and you want to proceed, you sign a contract, and then we take it from there. We get the audits done for you, and if you move forward with, say, a lighting project, we make sure that you get all the rebates and that the lights are meeting your expectations in terms of color rendering, temperature, brand standards. Kathy mentioned that at one point. So we just make sure that everything is buttoned up at the end, and that you have a good project and it meets your standards and you're saving energy and money. All right, and I guess we have Q&A. Kendall,
yeah, looks like,
questions?
Sorry. It looks like we have a few questions in the chat here. The first one is, if there's no cost for the retro commissioning audit, is the same true for audits to look at more traditional projects such as lighting, HVAC, water, etc.?
Yeah, that's a good question. So yes, most of our vendors, if you need a lighting audit, they will come out to your facility, at no cost, and be glad to walk through and get a lay of the land for you, do a count of your lights to develop a proposal. They consider that a cost of doing business, knowing that they may not win the bid. But they want to get out there and see the equipment for themselves, and make sure that they can get you an accurate proposal. And probably 95% of those vendors do not charge for that service.
Okay, next question. If there's no cost for the audit, how does Renodis, an engineering firm, get paid?
Another good question, yes. So for the retro commissioning audit, if we would go with Verde Energy, what would happen is you would sign an agreement that the rebate money is assigned directly to Verde Energy. And so they would come out and do the audit, and if ComEd is paying let's say $10,000 for an audit, then that money would just go directly to to the vendor that performed the service. So you would have no out of pocket money upfront, and you wouldn't have to write a check to the vendor. As far as Eric Ryan goes, and Renodis, I apologize for the slip. But as far as Renodis goes, we get paid. Our vendors add a commission for us bringing new business to them, so we get paid a small commission for them. So there's no fees to Renodis for these services either.
Okay, and last one, is my company obligated to implement any recommendations uncovered during the audit?
You are not. You know, obviously the end result is the utility is for the retro commissioning piece. You know, they're paying for these audits because, as I'm sure people have seen in the news, our infrastructure is aging and sometimes unreliable, and so one of the best ways to help alleviate that problem, I don't think we'll ever get to totally alleviating it, but the less that we put out on the grid, the better. And so the idea is to save energy here. So the utility would certainly like you to do that, but you're not obligated to do that in any way. And the same with Renodis. If a project doesn't make sense, if it's a 15-year payback, you're obviously not going to do that. So the answer is no. Everybody would like to do it. I mean, and plus saving energy helps meet your ESG goals as well. So there's lots of benefits for implementing projects and energy efficiency, but it's not required in any of these audits. No penalty if you don't do it. No cost if nobody's going to bill you if you don't move forward with a project.
All right, well, it looks like that's all the questions we have.
Okay. And yes, so my contact information is on there, and our company website is on there as well. And so certainly, going back to the slide with the other incentives, if there's anything that we can do for you on the energy efficiency side of things, please feel free to contact me directly. My email is there. Like I said, I'd be glad to talk to anybody about opportunities that are out there, ways that Renodis can assist and save your company money and energy and help meet environmental goals and save money. Yep, we're here for you. And thank you everybody for attending, and be on the lookout for more webinars.